Phantom Phoenix. Communist has joined your lobby.
Freaking clicked. Okay, I've been using OBS. I'm using OBS to do this shit because, honestly, Movavi is too much of a pain in the ass. You know, plus now I've actually kind of figured it out a little bit, except I keep pressing the goddamn start streaming button. I've done it twice already. Oh, Jesus Christ. Anyway, g'day mates, it's me, Mike. And I've been thinking a little bit about low effort content, just, you know, to fill in the gaps in time. And, you know, once every 2 months is way not often enough. It's way not often enough. And I need to make some dough, goddammit. So how's my life been? I'll just do a quick recap. Had a shit day yesterday, learning about TDK leaving, whatnot, you know. Sad, but it is what it is. You can't, like, change people's minds. Also JSOS as well I'm sad about, but, you know. He wants to leave the club, he can leave. Also, got an electric car recently, so been saving money on petrol. In fact, there's a little place at the multiplex that we can charge our car for free. Like, I'm not even joking, legally free. Who the fuck wouldn't want an electric car? Honestly, who wouldn't? Anyone who gets a new car and it's either petrol or diesel, you're an idiot. You are an idiot. Anyway, on to today's topic of this video, where I decided I wanted to have a look at the big boulder Connor Roundy, aka Hypnotist Sappho. I wanted to kind of reflect on one of his old videos. This is the thing, I'm not gonna pretend this is all new stuff. I just kind of want to have fun. Kind of just want to have some fun. Respond to some of what he had to say, and, you know, stuff. I don't know. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Look at this. This is going to be an epic fade. Epic fade that... Oh boy, that's so epic. So this is basically a response to his, to, like, a video made by Tujo Panda, who is a YouTuber. Link in description, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, let's get on with this.
Hey everyone. I decided to come back again, and this time I'm...
Yay! You know, should I have the full screen experience, or should we go with this? I think we'll go with this. Fuck you.
not going away as easily as the last time.
Yeah, sure you're not, Connor. This is just before his second, like, baiting arc, if you know. S-word baiting, and we'll get to that in a moment because he talks about it in this video.
I thought I would clarify some things and then talk about people like...
The things he wants to clarify is like, oh, I'm not a pedo, but that's coming later. Fuck!
Tujo Panda and Coyote Lovely.
Oh, also, by the way, Coyote Lovely, complete dickhead, let's be honest. Complete fucking dickhead. He's probably the biggest reason why Sappho's not in jail. At least as of, you know, what I know anyway. I haven't really been checking up on the Kiwi Farms thread. Because it's mostly dead, the Sappho thread. It's mostly dead.
Who I'll be referring to as Kyle.
Oh, you're gonna dox people, Connor? Ooh. I thought you hated doxing. Oh wait, no, that's only when people stand up to you. That's right.
At some points in this video, I'm sure. Why I dislike them.
Ooh.
Why I think they're intellectually bankrupt.
You're gonna hear him say intellectually bankrupt a lot in this video. A lot. It's just so... It's such a pathetic way to try to sound more intelligent. You're really not that intelligent. Like, you're good with computers, Connor, but that's pretty much it. You've got no social skills, and that's coming from me. From me. You know how embarrassing that is, Connor?
That's why I think they're dishonest.
Dishonest? You're dishonest. This is projection. Projection of the highest order.
And yeah, really just go over all of that in the recent video.
I think recent video, are you talking about this video, or are you talking about the fake apology that you did, where you just, like, pretended to be all upset and whatnot, and not actually take responsibility for yourself? Yeah, I can see through your bullshit, Connor. I can see right through it.
But first, my opinions have changed.
Yeah, sure. Let's see how your opinions have changed.
And have become far more nuanced.
Nuanced? Come on. Come on. This is him trying to sound smart, okay? As I've said a million times, it's him trying to sound smart, but he's not that smart. He only sounds smart if you're like 13 or something. You just hit puberty and you're learning new big boy words.
And I wanted to explain that. Firstly, I'm not a pedophile.
So, when you say your opinions have changed, does that mean that you're admitting that you were once a pedophile? You know the old saying, once a Catholic, always a Catholic? That applies to chomos. I'm sorry, but it just does.
I'm not a pedo.
Yes, you are.
Flat out.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. You had people on your NSFW servers that were as young as 9 years old. Don't act like you haven't. Don't act like you had tons of people following you who were underage, not just, 16-year-olds. There were like 14, 13, even down to like 11-year-olds following your NSFW Twitter account. What were we talking about? That's right, the NSFW Twitter account. And you didn't want to take any form of responsibility for that either. You just wanted to, you were just too lazy to filter out people, which is it's a pathetic excuse. Absolutely pathetic. Like, how hard is it to make your account private and then, actually filter through people? And these were people who had their ages in their bios, by the way, so there's really no excuse for it either way. And it's because of idiots like you that we're getting these laws as well that are being proposed in my country, for example, where you actually need like an ID now to be able to access social media, to create a social media account. It's because of idiots like you that we have to do shit like this, Connor.
I agree with the standards in Europe. I agree with half the United States and most of the rest of the planet that I personally think 16 should be, appropriate for age of consent.
Look. Even a 16-year-old can understand that these laws, these consent laws, come with a societal obligation that it's just teenagers fucking teenagers. Not like a 16-year-old fucking a 30-year-old, And most of these people, they're just calling you out for it as well, which is something you don't seem to understand. It's like, some of them are trying to get you imprisoned, obviously, yes, but most of the people are just calling you out for being a predator, just because it's not illegal. Just because it's illegal, fucking hell. Just because it's not illegal doesn't mean it's not bad either. Remember, once slavery used to be legal too. Remember that.
That doesn't mean that I support sharing illicit material or anything like that.
That's bullshit, and you know it, Connor. That is absolute bullshit. The amount of times you have shared illicit material, not only on your public Twitter accounts, but also on your shitty little servers, the Zetamu and all that crap. I've lost count, honestly. Do I need to bring up the pictures of you, the censored versions of the news that you put on your public Twitter? And this was before you really needed to, have an age verification to be able to see. It's kind of similar to how Reddit used to do things. And plus, people can still lie about their age as well.
And I also think the US legal system is a nightmare.
Shocker. You're gonna hide behind that. You're gonna hide behind that mask in order to try to get away with doing fucked up shit. You don't really care, let's be honest. You don't care that the US legal system is a nightmare.
I'm not into prepubescent kids.
Yes, you are.
Never.
Yes, you are. I've seen your fucking posts. I regret to say this, but I have seen... Oh my god, it makes me sick thinking about it. I saw that cub material. Literally, I really hate to describe this, but one of the images was like, doggy style or whatever. And the penetrator, the male in the image, was like... It's not real, obviously. It's animated. It's like fucking hentai or whatever. The male was like that short. His legs weren't touching the ground. You mean to tell me that you're not into prepubescent kids and yet you share shit like that and call it hot? God! You make me sick. Absolutely sick.
Been into them. I think that Europe has the right idea, because when an older person dates a younger person, there's a lot more responsibility and scrutiny placed on that older person.
Gee, unless both of them, go out of their way to hide their relationship. Kylo. Gee, I wonder who's done that before.
Essentially.
You're a fucking idiot, you know that? Fuck you.
Learn your definitions.
Learn your definitions. You should watch my previous Sappho video, and I put the definition of zoophilia up there, and he wanted to claim in his coming out video that, he was an ethical zoo that was more focused on, loving an animal, and if they were gonna have sex, it would be, like, consensual or whatever. However possible that is, if it's not possible, let's be honest. It's just not. Animals can't consent, and certainly children can't either.
I didn't try to get a cupcake like EDP.
Oh my god. That is kind of... Well, we don't know, actually. He could have tried to get a cupcake. He could have. But the thing is, we haven't seen any actual, footage of him trying to get the cupcake. That's the thing. That's the one defense.
Secondly, my opinion on zoophilia has changed a fair bit as well.
Ooh,
my opinion is a personal theory I have.
Oh, come on. Personal theory. Get fucked.
And one that would probably never work in the world the way it is. I'm being honest here.
Why you even bother talking about it then? Why?
That's why I'm no longer advocating for it.
No, the reason you're no longer advocating it is because you want to avoid the backlash. That's literally all it boils down to. You just want to avoid taking any kind of backlash, and I understand that, but still. I understand that you don't want to take backlash, but that doesn't mean that you've genuinely changed your opinions. You're just trying to change the way people perceive you and what they think your opinions are, not what your actual opinions are.
Or openly supporting it. I still maintain that I get to compare the treatment of paraphiles to other marginalized groups.
Now this butcher bird is gonna fucking harass me. Give me a moment, I'll be back. Okay, I'm back now. Jesus fucking Christ. Butcher birds are the definition of a blurse. Like, they're really cute and they're friendly, but they can be freaking annoying sometimes anyway.
And no, I didn't mean to insult people by bringing up the LGBT community.
No, you wanted to use the LGBT community as a way to garner sympathy, because you've seen how the evolution of the way that they've been treated by society and the media in general, by how they are gradually becoming more accepted and even like promoted in culture, and you want to try to push zoophilia down the same path too. It's not going to work, Connor, because zoophilia is disgusting. It's gross. How were you that dumb to think that this shit could work? And your organisation too, like, no sane, somewhat intelligent person would ever think that something like this could actually work. Where, you've got this organisation that has a bunch of flags, does like posters and shit promoting the acceptance of zoophilia. It's not, no sane person would think that shit would work.
And gay rights movement and stuff. But what you people would realize if you just for a second...
if we had half a brain cell.
Just a brain cell, that I'm not saying that LGBT and paraphiles are the same thing. They're not.
That's bullshit. That is such a load of bullshit. If you weren't saying that, why did you have it in your Twitter bio, LGBTZ? You are grouping queer people and zoos together. Come on. This is such a blatant lie that Connor has said.
What I'm saying is that the way they're treated is pretty similar.
Is or was? Because I can see, like, back in, like, medieval times or whatever, or, like, the early 20th century, then maybe, but not today, that's for sure. People, like, genuinely hate zoophiles with a passion. Like, it's like second to pedophilia. Gee, imagine if someone was both.
That's all. I'm just saying. And it's personally, whether you believe at this moment in history it's justified to, tell mentally ill people to kill themselves and stuff. I think that paraphiles...
Hang on, let's just go back to this point. Telling mentally ill people to end their lives is fucked up, let's be honest. It is fucked up. However, I think an exception comes in regards to chomos. Because chomos, quite frankly, I think their absence from society would be... the benefits would just be unparalleled. On the same level as everyone having an electric vehicle and, free energy and whatnot. That is how beneficial I think having no pedophiles in society would be. Probably 10 times more, actually. It would be like, utopia. If you get what I'm saying.
Should not be hunted and harassed just for being paraphiles. And
depends on the type of paraphilia. Like, if you're screwing an inanimate object, like a doll, I guess, that's like, it is what it is. But if it's something like animals and children, then definitely should be hunted down and prosecuted.
In my opinion, I want to get that out. And I want to get out of the paraphile community.
What's the matter, Connor? The kitchen's too hot for you?
I've wanted to. But...
This is the same thing as, like, if you've seen Mackenzie Shirella, her case, she was crying in court when she was found guilty. This is kind of a similar sort of situation. He's not wanting to get out because he's genuinely seen the light and changed his opinions and whatnot. He's just doing it because he doesn't want to face any kind of backlash. That's all it boils down to. That's really all it does.
You people literally make it impossible. It's like I'm literally not allowed to. So I have...
You overestimate your relevance to the internet, let's be honest. You overestimate it. There's no... You know, you easily could have kept your identity secret, but you chose to try to taunt and intimidate your detractors to the point where you overstepped. You bit off more than you could chew, and then you get doxxed fully, address and everything. So you've only really got yourself to blame for all this shit.
To stay in and support the paraphile community, because you all legitimately give no way out of it.
And you want to blame others for what you've done. This is the thing. Actions have consequences, and your action... all of this is the consequence of your own actions.
And, you know, that's not me, you know, being negative about the paraphile community or anything. It's just... Of course it's not. You know, I don't want to be involved with all of the hate anymore.
See, that's exactly what it is. You've got no principles. You've got no honor, no integrity. It's all about trying to get ahead, trying to get the fame or the infamy or whatever. That's the type of person he is, let's be honest. It's the type of person he is. Just a clout chaser, an all-round scum, just... wants the attention. It's pathetic. It's pathetic.
And it's been that way for a while.
And wants positive attention. None of this negative stuff, you know. You trolls, you can't be doing all this nasty stuff.
I was in a mental hospital.
Sure.
I stayed at the Hartford Institute of Life in Hartford, Connecticut for about 2 weeks. And periodically...
Okay, I think this might be correct. I don't know. It is what it is, but you shouldn't be using this as, like, an excuse or whatever for, the way you behave. The way you behave is within your control, unless you're, like, really insane.
I had access to my phone. And yes, I am a high suicide risk, and still in therapy to this day.
Just because you're in therapy, that doesn't really... It doesn't hold as much weight as you think it does. I'm gonna be real here. I've been to therapy multiple times, and it got to the point where I was even getting bored talking to my therapist. That's how much I opened up. The thing is, it's the kind of treatment that you have to be willing to take. You know, your mind has to be open, which is kind of a degree of openness that I don't think Connor really has. I think he's just using the therapy as like an excuse to try to sound like a better person, or that he's actually trying to redeem himself somewhat. That's kind of my take on it. Like, therapy is just... It's decent, but it's not the be-all and end-all for treatment, per se.
I don't want people to bother them, really. But if you called and asked, they would literally tell you...
Yeah, so you say... You're encouraging them to call and ask the specific institution that you said, you put out there the name of the institution, you expect people not to go and bother them? It's like, surely you're not stupid enough to realize that you're one big reverse psychology machine, that people are just going to do the opposite of what you ask them to do.
That, yes, they did allow cell phones to be given at specific times, and then turned in later in the evening. And there also had to be, like, tape on the camera and stuff for, like, patient privacy.
Yeah, that's how you manage to take a photo inside the ambulance. You just take the fucking tape off. Come on.
You know, and yes, I am on all of the medications that I say I'm on. which includes trazodone, Seroquel, and Paxil.
I don't think anyone was really doubting that you were on the medications or whatever, or that you went to the hospitals. I think you're just reading too much into it.
So, you know, maybe instead of being stupid aunties, consider for a second
you stupid aunties
and how you can be wrong before confidently saying that it's all fake.
Projection, 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 projection.
Fake. X to doubt. You know, no, really, come on. Continue to cast doubt on it now that it's literally in your fucking faces.
You know, it's funny, he sees all the overwhelming evidence against him, and the biggest thing he says is, it's all fake, it's just screenshots, bro. Trust me, bro. When the best you can provide is a photo, why don't you film a video? Why don't you film a video of you, not your face, just in the direction of the bottles of the medication, and have your voice saying, "Hi, my name's Valerie. This is the medicine that I take. It Paxil, Seroquel, whatever." And also Paxil's antipsychotic. I don't know why they prescribe that to her. Anyway, no, I'm not a fucking medical expert.
And you have the ability to confirm. Good on you for having friends that were committed and they didn't have access to their phones. You know, good on most hospitals for not allowing patients to ever have their phones, like, as they're in their stay. But that wasn't the case for me.
Did you choose which hospital you go to? Like, I don't know. That's probably stupid. I don't know.
Yes, my phone was taken when I went to the ER.
Yeah, that's why you had it in the ambulance with you. Like, come on. You'd think they would have taken it, like, before he got into the ambulance. Which, honestly, I think it was a fucking waste of medical resources that they would have, you know, used an ambulance to transport you, by the way. And I'm not saying that for anyone else who goes through something similar, you know, having a bad, like, mental health thing. I'm just saying this in specific for Connor, because he's obviously not really, you know, he's just piss-farting around, pissing in the wind, basically. He does this as, like, a calculated move in order to try to portray himself as some sort of victim, some vulnerable individual that all the big bad Kiwi farms is pushing to ending his own life, like, and it's not working because it's not real.
And I didn't see it again until I was actually in the psych ward, and I wasn't expecting to see it, like I said. I just happened to get lucky, I guess.
Ooh, yes, the phone. I've been hearing this saying that women love their phones, but who knows? I think the attachment to one's phone is quite laughable, honestly.
Now, for Tujo and other idiots and co, you know, just
idiots and co.
Explain it all away. Just
if they're idiots, what are you, honestly? You'd be like Martin Bryant level stupid. Well, actually, you'd make Martin Bryant look like a genius.
You know, explain it away somehow, now that it's in your faces. And yes, I do have a firearm, and still...
Oh god. Oh god.
Still consider removing myself from existence. There's a reason I'm a high fucking suicide risk.
Do you have a gun safe? Or do you just leave it out in the open, like that police officer said in the audio of you being swatted?
No, it's not suicide baiting.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yes, it freaking is. Well, I mean, technically, by the verbatim definition, technically it's not, but by what he's meaning, it is. He's deliberately trying to garner sympathy. Because if you really were a risk, you know, really were a risk of doing something like that, wouldn't you voluntarily give up your firearm? I know I would. But this is America, the shithole country that's so trigger happy.
It's just the honest fucking truth.
Why do you have to keep swearing all the time?
And my right to bear arms...
Ooh, your right to bear arms. Ooh.
...is not going to be fucking taken away.
Why don't you use that right to bear arms to do something good for society? I'm not gonna say what it is. I mean, you know, you could start a revolution. That's what I meant to say. In Minecraft, of course.
The fact is that the firearm is in a safer place now.
That's a load of shit. As I said, there's the audio from the swatting that the police officer literally says, "Do you always keep your firearm out like that?" And he says, "Yeah." And Connor says, "Yes." Come on, Connor. Stop lying.
So that, you know, if I end up feeling a certain way, I have time to think about it, basically.
Yes, you can walk over to the other side of the room where it's leaning up against the wall. You know, you can go get the ammunition, put it in the chamber, aim it towards your head, and then pull the trigger. That's how quickly you could probably do it. So all this bullshit about, oh, if I feel like doing it, it gives me time to think about it. That's bullshit. Honestly, that is bullshit.
I made a very serious video about very serious issues.
What, like the fact that you were having a big sad and you were talking about, you know, what your future plans were in regards to like videography. This is the video he did before this one, you know, his fake apology where he doesn't actually apologize for anything. He just wants to look like a victim, like he always does. Like he always does, some sort of fucking survivor of big bad trolling. Ooh, you're so brave, Connor. You really are.
Including mental health. You disgusting people, especially Coyote Lovely.
Ooh, Kyle.
Still continue to lie and be angry and encourage me to commit suicide.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I wouldn't, you know, I wouldn't really be bothered by people doing that because you're a chomo. But yeah, if you're gonna do something like that, please just do it in Minecraft.
And, you know, just so people know, Tujo is another drama tuber. You know, he tacitly supports Kyle Crushore in this. Coyote Lovely, Kyle. You know, and his many, you know, instances of him telling me to commit suicide, advising me to commit suicide, a felony in California, by the way.
Yeah, it's pretty fucked up. So just don't tell people to end their own lives. Let's be honest, just don't. If you're gonna... No. Look, there's really no justification for even the fact that he's a chomo. The best thing you can do is to try to reduce the possibility of him being a danger to society. So in other words, monitoring him, making sure that he doesn't do anything stupid, you know, that's what I think the best course of action is, really. There's a part of me that wants to justify encouraging him to end his life because he is a pedo, but the more I think about it, the more I just can't really see a justification for it.
And his targeting of minors and so on.
No proof.
I just think it's kind of funny that Tujo continues to support him.
Nowadays Tujo doesn't, but it doesn't matter. Back then Tujo supported him.
But anyway, let's move on. Now, in that video, I said I may come back to do more hypnosis videos. And that's still true. I might start posting some hypnosis videos again, and maybe some other stuff. I don't know yet. Despite the claims made by Kiwi Farms and other places with totally legit sources, you know, trust me, bro.
Yeah. Photos. Ooh, photos. They're very much reliable. Oh, and by the way, if it wasn't baiting, this is before the second instance. If it wasn't baiting, why would you go out of your way to prevent yourself being doxxed in the images that you take, that you were supposedly proving that you were about to end your own life? Why would you cover up certain things? Is it because you weren't actually planning on ending your life? And you were just doing it for the attention?
Screenshots.
Yeah, screenshots. Oh, they're so unreliable. I understand that. But the thing is, the farmers understand that too, which is why they corroborated the screenshots with archives. And believe it or not, I actually looked through multiple different archiving websites as well. Wayback Machine, like that other archive things that the farmers used. And I used it to corroborate the images, and they match perfectly. So, quite frankly, I am about 90% sure that all the evidence is right. Or at least the majority of it. Can't be 100% certain, but I'm pretty sure.
Most of the claims against me are false.
No, they're not. As I said in my video, it's probably the other way around. Most of it's true. There are a couple of, like, outlandish claims or whatever. The whole, like, cult thing is questionable. It's probably just a tight-knit group, not, like, religiously worshipping or anything.
You know, whether entirely, whether altered, whether fabricated, or even just in part, rendered in a false way and twisted around to be seen in the worst light possible.
Come on. Keeps claiming that, but the evidence is just, it's just too overwhelming.
Most claims against me are false.
No, they're not.
That's why I haven't been investigated.
Dude, Cyrax hasn't been freaking investigated. That doesn't mean he's not a chomo. I can't explain the police processes or whatever, but they seem pretty lenient when it comes to internet cases due to how, obscure the evidence can be as well, and just the circumstances. I think that the government really hasn't, updated itself in regards to how to deal with cybercrimes, or at least they hadn't back then as well. And there probably was some investigations, but I don't think they really turned up for much, It doesn't mean that you don't deserve backlash or anything either, though. It's the thing.
That's why I haven't even been, questioned by police. You would think if I was a horrible criminal and this huge threat to society, I would have been contacted by law.
Yeah, well, the same thing could be said about Cyrax. That doesn't mean he's not a bad person,
Enforcement at this point. I mean, right?
No,
it's not like they have unlimited resources to continue justifying an investigation.
Exactly. That doesn't mean that you're not a threat to society.
Into, some random internet person that has opinions people don't like.
Opinions people don't like? Come on, let's be real here. You advocate for relationships between fully grown adults and, in some cases, prepubescent teenagers. That kind of opinion is extremely dangerous to society. Extremely dangerous. And it can't be justified. It really can't. And you're also way too open in regards to exposing minors to sexually explicit content as well. This kind of behaviour is just unacceptable. It's dangerous, it's impractical, it is unacceptable. There is no justifying allowing kids to look at pornography. I mean, look, adults looking at pornography is questionable at best, but kids, that's something that cannot be justified.
They have serious people to deal with, people in their 30s and 40s sex trafficking kids, and
I will admit a 20-year-old dating a 16-year-old isn't as bad as that. It's still fucked up, though. It's still fucked up, and you still deserve to face full backlash.
Doing all kinds of other horrible shit. Those are the people they're after, not internet lady for having...
Lady. Lady. Look, I don't mean to be transphobic, but all my like support for trans people, it goes out the window when you're a depraved piece of shit. Let's be honest. You will never be a woman, Connor. You will never, ever, ever even come close to being a woman. I think this whole trans thing that you're putting on is just a fetish. You have this big mummy fetish, so you want to become the mummy, basically. Yet you're still not willing to get bottom surgery. You're not willing to... Well, you're even so far as willing to brag that you have a big dick. Like, what kind of a trans person says something like that? Let's be real.
Being opinions you don't like. For almost everything I've ever done, it's always been twisted into looking the absolute worst way possible.
We really don't need to do that. We just have to show the evidence, and it looks bad as it is.
Now, especially by the narcissist, Coyote Lovely.
It's a bit rich you calling someone a narcissist. You are the living embodiment of narcissism. Let's be real. You are the living embodiment of narcissism.
Massive narcissist, massive smug fucking attitude. You listen to 10 seconds of any of his videos, and you just immediately want to tear your eyes out and, call like a crisis line.
When I watch your videos, I almost choke from the excessive laughter and cringe of how just unbelievably insane you are. Like, at first I was really, genuinely disgusted, like unable to talk for, minutes, especially when I heard about the cub material thing. I've said this a million times, but when I saw that disgusted me. But the more I saw you just fucking around on Kiwi farms trying to argue your innocence with a bunch of randos on the internet, the fact that you were so invested in doing that made me just fucking almost die of laughter.
It feels like people still want me to be a symbol,
You're always going to be a symbol. You're like the zoophilia equivalent of a swastika now. You are the Chris Chan of the furry community.
Symbols only have meaning when people constantly talk about them, constantly.
Not always true, that's not true.
Throw a fit.
Look, history's already been made here. History's already been made. You think you could just erase history? It's not 1984, and you don't advocate for fucking 1984 anyway, so... What is the point here? You're always going to be remembered as a zoophile. There's always going to be a group of people that'll remember what you did. There's no going back. You can't just travel back in time and stop yourself from doing all this shit. It's the same thing with people who are in jail. They can't go back in time and prevent themselves from committing the crimes that they committed.
If people just fucking shut up.
That's what Sappho wants. Fuck you. He wants people to just shut up and worship him and kiss his unwiped chocolate starfish, basically.
That symbol would go away.
No, it wouldn't. There's always going to be a small group of people that remember.
It's not that hard.
What do you mean it's not that hard? What do you mean? It's impossible, you fuckwit.
It almost feels like you want me to advocate for paraphilia still. I mean, is that what you want? What other option is there?
Yeah, you're blaming other people. Maybe if you just got off the internet, which is at least what he's done now. He's pretty much like out of the public spotlight now. But if he just got off the internet back then, it would have saved him all this trouble. You know, don't even bother registering a Kiwi Farms account. People say what they'll say about you. That's the thing. It's a sad truth. It sucks, but trying to clown back will just make you look stupider.
You don't give any other option. So, going on. Tujo is a guy that thinks he's cute and funny because he associates with Coyote Lovely and Kyle, who has many times directly and heavily encouraged my suicide, knowing that I have mental issues, I'm a suicidal person, I'm vulnerable.
Yeah, but he also knows that you're a chomo. Anyway, I think it's best now. This video is going to go on for like, if I did this in whole, it would be like 3 hours or some shit. That's how much I talk. So I think I'm going to end it off here, and we'll join the round boulder rock spider fucking heap of shit in another episode. Maybe tomorrow. I might actually do these more often. See ya.